JDM recently shared his thoughts on Islam Makhachev's striking and how it compares to Bilal Muhammad's. In a conversation with the West Sport, he gave some honest insight into what he expects if the two eventually meet inside the octagon. JDM explained that while Islam is considered the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, he actually finds Islam's striking style a bit easier to prepare for compared to Bilal's. He broke it down by saying Islam is more traditional in his approach. He tends to stay in one stance, and his striking is structured in a way that doesn't carry as much unpredictability as Bilal's. According to JDM, that makes it less difficult to adjust to. JDM went on to highlight that Bilal's movement and striking style are trickier because of how varied they can be. Bilal often mixes things up, making it harder to predict what's coming next. But when it comes to Islam, JDM feels there's a more steady, disciplined style that, although extremely effective, is not as complicated to read. That's not to say Islam is an easy opponent by any means. JDM was quick to point out that Islam is tough, he's consistent, and he's the pound-for-pound #1 for a reason. There's no doubt it's going to be a very challenging fight. Still, JDM sounded confident about his chances. He made it clear that the preparation starts now. From this point forward, he wants to begin analyzing every single one of Islam's fights, looking for patterns, tendencies, and openings. The plan is to build a solid game plan piece by piece, focusing on ways to counter Islam's biggest strengths. JDM said that one of the most important things for him will be finding different strategies to get back to his feet if he gets taken down. He also emphasized the need to sharpen his ability to stuff takedowns before they happen. As he put it, the work starts immediately. The goal is not just to step into the cage with Islam, but to step in fully prepared and ready to execute. He believes that by combining smart preparation with his own striking abilities, he can push the pace, defend the grappling, and eventually find a way to break through. While he acknowledged the magnitude of the challenge, JDM expressed strong belief in his skill set, saying he is confident he can get the job done. This mindset is what makes him such a dangerous contender. He respects Islam's dominance but isn't intimidated by it. Instead, he's motivated. For JDM, this is an opportunity to prove himself against the very best, and he's already locked in on the mission ahead. The message was clear: prepare early, stay disciplined, and be ready for war when the time comes. Moving on to another news. Alexander Volkanovski recently appeared on the Unscripted show and absolutely went off on Colby Covington. When asked about him, Volkanovski didn't hold back one bit. He said, "Colby Covington? That's an obvious one. It's an easy question, but I'll make it a little bit better for you. Colby, you're a piece of, and I dare you to come say something to my face because I'd love to slap you. There you go. He's just a piece of, he just is." Volkanovski explained that in a sport like MMA, there will always be publicity, and not all of it is going to be positive. But most of the fighters he's met have been some of the nicest people, some of the most disciplined and respectful human beings around. Men and women alike, people in this sport are generally good. However, there are always a few who push things too far, and for Volkanovski, Colby Covington is one of them. He went on to say that there's a difference between having a laugh, pushing fun, and building hype, versus crossing the line and being flat-out disrespectful. According to him, Colby doesn't know the difference, and that's what makes him such a problem. What annoyed Volkanovski even more was how Colby behaves when the cameras are rolling compared to when they aren't. He recalled how Colby wouldn't say a word to Paddy Pimblett when they were face-to-face, but as soon as the cameras were around, suddenly the trash talk started again. That kind of fake behavior, only doing it for the cameras, is something Volkanovski can't stand. He also brought up the incident with Jorge Masvidal, pointing out that Colby has a history of crossing lines he shouldn't. Volkanovski reminded everyone that Colby made comments about Masvidal's family, and that's not something you do. Masvidal responded by confronting him in the streets, and Colby ended up getting hit. The irony, as Volkanovski put it, is that after talking about someone's family and taking things too far, Colby then played the victim when things didn't go his way, even pressing charges after the incident. For Volkanovski, this just shows the type of guy Colby is. He'll talk all the trash in the world, cross lines that most fighters would never even consider, and when there are consequences, he runs from them instead of owning up. And what's worse, he continues to repeat the same behavior, even after learning the hard way. Volkanovski said he's heard Colby talk about deceased fathers at press conferences, dragging family members into things, and creating situations that go beyond promoting a fight. To him, that's simply unacceptable. He closed out by mocking Colby's usual dismissal of him as just a featherweight. Volkanovski's message was loud and clear: if you think I'm just a featherweight, then say something to my face. He's ready, he's fired up, and he made sure everyone knows exactly how he feels about Colby Covington. Moving on to another news, a fun middleweight clash is now being lined up for the UFC's debut in Qatar, and fans are buzzing. Paulo Costa has revealed that he has agreed to fight Shara Magomedov on November 22nd, when the promotion touches down in Doha. The card is already shaping up with some big names, including Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Gustaf, Alex Perez versus Asu Almabayev, and Alexandre Ilia versus Bigsat Almakan. Now, Costa versus Bullet is set to become the co-main event, according to reputable journalist Larete Viana, who confirmed the UFC's plans. Costa himself broke the news on social media. Posting on X, formerly Twitter, he wrote, "Was offered Shara Bullet in Qatar. It looks fun, I said yes. Keep your eye open, guys. One single good eye poke. Be penalized with one less point. Shara fights 100% blind. Deal." That kind of humor is vintage Costa, who often mixes his fight announcements with playful digs at his opponents. The Brazilian is coming into this fight with fresh momentum. Back in July, he snapped a 2-fight losing streak by scoring a strong decision win over Roman Kopylov. That victory was crucial for Costa, who had spent nearly 2 years out of the cage while renegotiating his UFC contract. Now, with his career back in motion, he looks to string together wins and climb back toward title contention. Costa didn't hold back when tweeting about his new matchup either, writing, "It's gonna be the second Russian in a row to be beaten. The three of you guys, who's next? The cupcake boring balls sniffer." That last jab was clearly directed at new middleweight champion Khamzat, who Costa was originally supposed to fight back in 2023. That fight fell apart due to a severe elbow infection that required doctors to pull Costa from the event. Since then, Costa has been campaigning hard for another shot at Khamzat, making it clear the rivalry is still burning. The reality, though, is that Costa sits at number 13 in the rankings. A win over an unranked opponent like Bullet won't do much to get him closer to a title shot, but it does keep him active and in high-profile fights. And Bullet brings his own star power. A fan favorite in the Middle East, he's become a staple on UFC cards in the region. Part of that comes from his fighting style, but part of it also comes from his unique situation. With only one working eye, he cannot get sanctioned to fight in America, so the UFC features him heavily in international events. Bullet has gone 5-1 in the UFC, with his only loss coming against Michael Venom Page, a fight that showed just how dangerous the Russian striker can be. Despite being unranked, Bullet is no easy matchup. His style, his durability, and his aggressive approach inside the cage make him a threat to anyone in the middleweight division. For Costa, this fight may be more dangerous than it looks on paper. Still, the UFC knows exactly what it's doing by pairing them together in Qatar. It's a fight that brings fireworks, it sells to the local fans, and it keeps Costa relevant while Bullet continues to build his international following. A victory would give Costa back-to-back wins and keep his name in the conversation for big matchups, including that long-awaited grudge match with Khamzat. But to get there, he has to get past a dangerous fan favorite in Bullet. Moving on to another news. Boralho, just days before his UFC Paris matchup with Nasruddin Imavov, appeared on Shock MMA and shared his thoughts on what he believes is the real secret to beating Khamzat. He admitted openly that he fully expects Khamzat to take him down. Instead of denying that possibility, he's embracing it and planning to rely on his jiu-jitsu from the bottom. Boralho explained that his BJJ game is not only versatile, but also designed to shut down Khamzat's advances, stall his progress, and create opportunities to escape, get back to his feet, or even threaten submissions. Beyond just the ground exchanges, Boralho made it clear that his goal is to frustrate Khamzat by mixing things up. He wants to use his versatile stand-up, footwork, and grappling transitions to keep Khamzat guessing, never allowing him to settle into a rhythm. The plan, as he described, is to deny Khamzat's usual dominance step by step while constantly showing new looks that can throw him off balance both mentally and physically. Of course, Boralho and Khamzat have trained together in the past, and the talk from multiple sources has always been that Khamzat demolished him in sparring. Those reports have circulated for some time, painting a picture of one-sided dominance, but Boralho isn't concerned. He reminded everyone that sparring is one thing, and fighting under the lights in the octagon is another. He believes the adjustments he's worked on since those sessions could make all the difference when it matters most. Reports also touched on how Khamzat looked against other training partners like Nasruddin Imavov and RDR. Word is that Khamzat absolutely destroyed Imavov, giving him no chance to hang with him during their sparring, a display of dominance that had people buzzing. However, the sparring with RDR was a little different. RDR himself explained that their work was striking focused, not full MMA, and that it was very close and competitive throughout. That, Boralho pointed out, is why training can never fully predict fight night outcomes. When asked directly about his approach, Boralho broke it down further. He said, "I think my jiu-jitsu can create a lot of threats for him. Whether I'm on the bottom or on top, my ground game can force him into tough positions. But mostly, I expect to be on the bottom because he will probably take me down, and I accept that. The key is to frustrate him, to deny his progress, and to show all my versatility." He added that his striking tools will also play a big role. With his distance control feints and timing, he believes he can make Khamzat shoot for takedowns at the wrong time, leaving openings for counters or reversals. His plan is to keep applying pressure after Khamzat starts getting tired and frustrated, turning the fight in his favor as it goes deeper. Boralho admitted this is not going to be an easy task. He fully respects Khamzat's abilities, calling him an exceptional fighter who is very, very good. But at the same time, Boralho expressed his own confidence, saying he considers himself one of the best in the world too, a phenomenal athlete who is ready to step up. For him, UFC Paris is going to be about two of the best athletes in the sport clashing, and he is ready to prove that his strategy, versatility, and belief in himself can carry him through against one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. Moving on to another news. Team Khabib has finally broken their silence on all the talks surrounding Khamzat and JDM, after recent comments from both fighters stirred the pot. In an interview with Submission Radio, Islam's head coach Javier Mendez addressed the chatter and provided some serious insight into what could come next. He talked about a possible future matchup between Islam and Khamzat at middleweight, a fight that would give Islam the chance to go for a third belt, something no fighter in UFC history has ever accomplished. Mendez made it clear that right now the team's full focus is on JDM. That's the fight in front of them, and that's where all their preparation is locked in. However, he added that once Islam beats JDM and secures a couple of defenses at welterweight, the door opens wide for a move to middleweight and a collision with Khamzat. He didn't shy away from how massive such a fight could be, but he also emphasized the importance of handling business at welterweight first. The coach even dropped a bold take when asked about Khabib. He said he believes Khabib would have done even better at middleweight than Islam, although he made sure to clarify that Islam is insanely skilled and already proven in the gym against much bigger guys. According to Mendez, Islam has shown time and time again that size doesn't matter. He dominates, whether it's grappling or striking, even against opponents who are supposed to have the advantage on the feet. Mendez also addressed JDM's comments about Islam's striking being easier to adjust to compared to Bilal's. JDM had suggested that Islam's style was more traditional and straightforward. The coach responded by saying if JDM really believes that, then he hopes he walks into the fight with that mindset, because the reality will hit him differently. Mendez said he's been watching Islam for over 11 years, watching him destroy fighters on the feet, including guys with far better striking credentials, and yet Islam still broke them down. He warned that once JDM steps into the octagon, he's going to experience something completely new, something he's never faced before. As for Khamzat, Mendez gave credit where it's due. He acknowledged Khamzat is a huge guy with an incredible skill set. He said let him enjoy his great victory, and let's see what happens from there. The respect was clear, but so was the confidence in Islam. Mendez believes the path is simple. First, Islam needs to defend the welterweight title multiple times. By doing that, he won't just be seen as someone jumping around weight classes. He'll be respected as a true champion who dominates his own division before chasing greatness elsewhere. The message from Team Khabib is focused but ambitious. Handle JDM, build legacy at welterweight, and then when the time is right, step into middleweight for one of the biggest fights the sport could ever see. For now though, Islam's eyes are firmly set on JDM, and his team believes the world will see just how special he really is. Moving on to another news. Usman Nurmagomedov, the current PFL lightweight champion, has gone off on Ilya, making it very clear that he doesn't buy into the hype of the UFC lightweight champ calling himself the best in the world. In a fiery interview, Usman said Ilya simply hasn't done enough at 155 to claim that title. He pointed out that Ilya has fought only once at lightweight, while he himself has been competing in the division his entire career, racking up an undefeated record and already collecting 14 finishes. For Usman, the numbers don't lie, and the resume speaks for itself. He didn't hold back when questioning how Ilya could possibly be considered the #1 lightweight in the world. Usman reminded everyone that he has close to 20 fights in the division, all undefeated, while Ilya has just dipped his toes into the weight class. Usman explained, "Come on, brother, how can he be lightweight #1 in the world? He cannot be, he did only one fight. I have 19 fights in lightweight, and I am undefeated. I have 25 fights now. I beat former champions. I beat champions. My resume is better than him. He has only 15 or 14 fights, maybe 13, I don't even know. I think 14, but I have 14 finishes." The PFL champ was clear that after his upcoming fight against Paul Hughes, he plans to cement his place as the true best lightweight on the planet. He believes with another big win, there will be no more questions. His words were strong. "After I finish this guy, I will call myself the best lightweight." That's how confident Usman is about his standing in the division and where his career is headed. Behind the scenes, Team Khabib has already made their vision clear. They see Usman as the next in line to carry the legacy of Khabib and Islam, not just in the PFL, but eventually in the UFC. The long-term plan is to transition him into the biggest promotion in the world, where he can prove himself against fighters like Ilya and show the depth of Dagestan's dominance. For fans, the hype is already growing, and the tension between these two names is starting to build. The potential matchup between Usman and Ilya could become one of the most talked about fights in the sport. Right now, all the buzz is around Islam, possibly facing Ilya in a champion versus champion clash. But if that fight doesn't come together, Usman versus Ilya would be the perfect alternative. Both men undefeated at lightweight, both carrying hype, and both convinced they are the #1 in the world. Usman's confidence is undeniable. He knows his skills, he knows his resume, and he's not afraid to call out what he sees as inflated claims. While Ilya has the UFC belt in the spotlight, Usman believes that his own dominance, finishing ability, and consistency put him ahead of the pack. And once his next fight is done, he's ready to make his case loudly and clearly. The best lightweight in the world is Usman Nurmagomedov. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.